Good morning, everyone. So yesterday we were talking on these three things, and these three things represent the present status. Not only about discipline, but also about nation states. Like what nation states are doing. So if it is asked that what nation states are doing, so nation states are doing like that. Still they are undergoing such changes. So these changes, still you'll find that unbundling has not been complete yet. Still we are trying to, if you take about Indian Railway, so Vivek Debraya committee, so it has recommended for converting it into a company. So Ministry of Railway as of now you have, it says that it should be made as a company. It should not be a ministry. So if you talk about reforms in railways, it is yet to take place. As per what yesterday we were talking about, power sector. So power sector has its unbundling and generation, transmission and distribution. So we have reformed. Similarly, if you talk about transportation sector and other such sectors, so still devolution has not taken place. Still we have certain instances of governments being big. And that is how this Niti Aayog and the present government, so they are trying to take the reforms further. And so even globalization, so globalization has no doubt its phases. If you see from 1980s, and we'll discuss this, there is a separate topic on globalization. So we'll talk about what is exactly status of globalization. So these aspects, and when these three things happen, so they gave rise to further three things in public administration. And this is called blurring, shrinking but spreading, and flattening. That is how, as per Nicholas Henry, means when paradigm 6 is asked, so you should write as per Nicholas Henry and you should write what he says. Otherwise, you will not be able to talk anything specific. It will be very generic and it will be very difficult to write something specific because 90s onwards, there are many developments or there are too many developments which we will become more confused. What exactly should be written? Which will talk as post-NPM models when we'll take NPM. So blurring means if you take one by one. So blurring is blurring of distinction between public and private. So today there is a less distinction between public and private. Can we say during 50s, 60s, 70s, so there were more difference. Is it? So public and private, if you talk like 1950s, 70s, so public and private can be depicted in this way. Public, private. And if you talk 1980s onwards, so public, private. This. This is called blurring. Any example? Although we'll talk all these things when we'll take many things later on. So, how the distinction is blurring?
So in 1950s, 60s, telephone was only operated, telephone service was only operated by government, but as we came into 80s, privatization.
Right.
In the past, all the construction work was done by the government only, and now they have public-private partners. They are working on public-private
Yes.
partnership model.
Right. This is called more of privatization. You should know that the public is trying to become private and private is trying to become public. That is called blurring of distinction. Public is trying to become private, business-like. Right. So now exactly Wilson gave call that time, but exactly now public is trying to become more business-like. That's why they are trying to incorporate efficiency, performance, performance incentives, and contract-based recruitment. In past, there used to be pension-based recruitment. Right. But now pensions have been discontinued. So this is how, that is called career-based. So there used to be, government used to take burden of pension, etc., but now you have contract-based. Right. This is private. So public sector is trying to become private because they have to achieve efficiency. That's why lateral entry is also introduced. So this way, professionalism. And private sector is incorporating public aspect. Can we say? What is public aspect they are incorporating? CSR. So they are trying to become more public by incorporating CSR. CSR practices, corporate social responsibility. Means they want to become more public oriented. They want to have more public acceptance. So profit is not only the motive today for a private sector. And you will find that in philanthropy, lots of investment they have done. Right, so Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Azim Premji Foundation. So there are many different foundations which are helping people. So this is how they want to become also more public. And this is called blurring of distinction. So this is how it is happening. So in the era of globalization, globalization is not only about privatization, it is not only about market. Globalization has certain democratic principle also. Democratic values. So globalization also carries democratic values, which will tell. So you should not have a negative view on globalization. Globalization is about this and that, it's not in that way. Globalization has also democratized society. Today's society is more democratized than 70s before. So this is how we can say blurring of distinction when they say. So public and private sector, we talk in first phase, second phase, there was no distinction. Then they rejected the distinction. No, they are distinct. But again in the last phase, we are saying that no, The distinction is minimizing. This is how an evolutionary aspect and shrinking but spreading. Can we say state has shrunk or state has spread? Are you able to understand what we are saying? So can we say state has shrunk? This in brief you have to know, then you will understand what they are saying. So basically we had 1940s. Before that we say it laissez-faire era. Then this welfare era. And if I say this 1970s onward to 1990s, so it is corporate era. Corporate welfare era. Here I will tell in brief, in public choice approach I will elaborate it. So basically this was big state. Because this we say as welfare era. Right. This is called beginning of marketization. Its impact is corporate era. So basically state was big. Big state means state is omnipresent. Omnipresent, omnipotent. This is how the two terms. That is all powerful and it is present everywhere. So state was big. In fact, state became too big to be governed. Still it is too big to be governed. Railway is too big to be governed. पता ही नहीं कौन से ट्रेन में क्या इंस्ट्रूमेंट सही है कि नहीं है. Sorry to say that. Right. So this is how. So if you go by train, isn't it? Fortunately, you should get good seat. Right. If you travel by AC, so that's a different thing. But third AC is sleeper of past. Right. And sleeper is general of past. General has no category. Right. So if you talk railway, it is really, on the one hand, you can be thankful to railway because of millions of people traveling by, right, and benefiting. But on the other hand, you will find that it is not able to govern properly. That's why Vivek Debray say that divide Indian railway into three parts. Right. Indian railway should be divided into three parts. The way power sector was divided into three parts. And they don't want to accept it. Employees don't want to accept. So this is how, let's say that welfare era, big era. Right. And this privatization is started. So this is how they are saying. So in this era, they say rolling back of state. So during this era, what we say? Rolling back of state. Rolling back means withdrawal of state. Like new economic policy is a rolling back of state. 1991. So rolling back of state 1991 in India. So that is called, that's why there are no job in government. Right. And private sector is robotized. So what people should do? So that we'll talk next era, which is not in syllabus. So the question is that right, in past it was the government which has the responsibility to give you a job. Now it says that go private sector, sell pakoda. Right. So the question is that job, let's say that it was responsibility of a state. Now it is no longer responsibility of a state. And that is how, let's say, the state withdraws, rolling back of a state. The state has withdrawn from many sectors. First is employment sector, transportation sector. In past it was PWD. Right. Now it is Larsen, Toabro, etc. This is how, so there will be different companies and they will be in construction, etc. So there will be, let's say, that different companies constructing. Means today anything is constructed by a private player, monitored by government. So PWD, I don't know today how it exists. They may have converted into some other offices, isn't it? So you'll find that many such departments, government withdrew. It is withdrawing. And now Niti Aayog says further has planned for privatization. So it has further given for privatization. And already Air India is open for privatization, but there is no any buyer. Right. Only certain segment of Air India they want to buy, not in entirety. Right. Government wants to sell in entirety. This is how. So the question is that you want to also privatize Air India. And if you go during 70s, 80s, so there was only Indian Airlines. Right. You will not have private players. So that is how you will find that private sectors have, means private sector players have come, state has withdrawn. So can we say that state has shrunk? Means it has become more minimal. But they are saying, it's shrinking but is spreading. How state is spreading? Can you give any example where state has spread? The role of state has increased.
State is spreading in newer avenues like science and technology, environment, AI.
Yes. So it was, let's say, misnomer. Initially it was thought, or they thought that state is shrinking, but actually state was not shrinking, it was spreading. So if state is withdrawing from one area, it is entering in another area. This. So if it is withdrawing from one area, so it is entering in another area, or it is entering in some new area. For instance, regulation. So there were no regulatory institutions before 90s. Right. SEBI was set up in 87. Fine. Before that, you did not have regulatory bodies like this IRDA, right? Competition Commission of India. So we did not have. They have come after 1991. Similarly, you did not have. You had only one commission that is called Scheduled Caste Commission, Scheduled Caste, Scheduled Tribe Commission. Right, for protection of scheduled caste, now you have separated both commission, then you have Human Rights Commission, Women Commission, Child Rights Commission. This is all fine. So, there are many such commissions now. So, more and more government institutions means more and more role of government. Be it anyway, then environmental protection. So, for environmental protection and let's say other aspects, you have many other institutions. You have created National Green Tribunal also. So this is how in human rights sector, in environment, ecology, in regulation, and then welfare. Welfare you have not completely stopped. So we have not stopped complete welfare. We have a smart city, we have Skill India, Digital India, you have Sansad Das Gram Yojana, you have many other such schemes and programs which you want to implement at local level. Yes, you want to implement by partnership, but still you want to empower local bodies at sectors. So their roles have not been completely discontinued. And in the end, you will find that state has spread. How it has spread? The today state has more institutions than what it used to have before 90s. If you count, so you'll have, apart from bureaucracy, you have more institutions to govern today. In fact, you have to govern the institutions. Right. An institution governs people, and you are not able to govern the institutions, because if you create 10 regulatory institutions, then you have to govern them. And we have over 500 such institutions. This is how Niti Aayog has found, and they are trying to, let's say, find out modalities to restructure them. That is called restructuring regulatory institutions, called unified regulatory body. So first you created, now you want to create unified. Right. So recent education policy also wants to unify. Right. Similarly, Forward Market Commission and SEBI, they have been merged. So this is how you will find that in actual practice what happened when there was privatization. Basically to govern privatization, state is spread. Right. Privatization cannot be successful without governing it. Because you know, if you don't govern private sectors, what will happen? Crony capitalism. So to govern globalization, to govern privatization, you went on creating more institutions. And creation of those institutions so that there is a safeguard to the rights of people, that result into spreading of public administration, means spreading of state. But that spread of state is not same as welfare era. Welfare era state was more domineering type. But today, let's say state is more governing type. This is how the difference. It should be more facilitated. It should work more as a facilitator rather than provider, actor or doer. This is how they talk about, and this is how we have to tell and conclude this paradigm 6, and then we'll take about status, etc. So let's summarize all these things in few lines. Right. When business turns into greed, it is crony capitalism. Who has asked this question? Yes. So when business turns into greed, it is crony capitalism. Suppose you may have taken any house on rent in Old Rajan Nagar, is it? Hypothetically, let's take you are in Old Rajan Nagar, and when landlord says that you vacate it after 2-3 months because I have to do whitewash. Right. Basically, they don't have to do whitewash. They want to increase the rent. It is crony capitalism. Not, it is not monopolistic, let's say that. Monopolistic will be different that in the area you are operating, there is no any competitor. Right. This, or you bring certain aspects of, let's say that business approach that it monopolizes. Right. So,
Unethical business practice.
no, unethical is different. It is not completely unethical. Right. It is greediness. Right. Unethical is different. Let's. Unethical is that if you are having fake medicine manufacturing, so this is unethical. Right. You are selling the product, and the product when comes to you delivered, so it is not the product at all. Right. So this is unethical. But this is greediness, let's say that. Still his action can be to some extent justified, you cannot do anything. Right. Just you paid to property dealer, no, half of your rent. I guess this is how it is. And after 3-4 months they say you vacate it, again you have to pay half of the rent. Right. This is called crony capitalism. And you cannot do anything on that unless you regulate it properly. So business has become more money driven. Right. This. Anyhow, so let's summarize these things. Right. According to Nicholas Henry, this paradigm 6 is characterized by globalization, devolution and redefinition. Globalization, devolution and redefinition, which in turn have given rise to features like blurring, shrinking but spreading, and flattening. Flattening. Blurring means the distinction between public and private. The distinction between public and private is getting minimized as public tries to become private and private tries to become public. Become public. Such as public-private partnership. Public-private partnership. Second, shrinking but spreading represents first withering off of state, withering away of state, withering away of state, that is rolling back of state, rolling back of state or minimal state, rolling back of state or minimal state. Minimal state. State has withdrawn from many areas. State has withdrawn from many areas, especially business. Especially business. Business. But at the same time, it has entered in new areas. Entered in new areas and has assumed new roles. Has assumed new role, including environment, ecology, human rights, regulation and facilitation, regulation and facilitation. And therefore, there is a phenomenon of shrinking but spreading. Shrinking but spreading. Next, flattening is related to reduction in hierarchy. Reduction in hierarchy. Due to globalization and devolution, the number of levels in hierarchy, the number of levels in hierarchy has reduced. Rather, there is a network of relationship. There is a network of relationship in place of hierarchy of relationship. Hierarchy of relationship. Right. Milton Friedman also say the world is flat. So Milton Friedman also says the world is flat. In the era of globalization. In the era of globalization. Traditionally, public administration was characterized as pyramid type. It was characterized as pyramid type. Now it is characterized as network type. Network pyramid. We will elaborate next time when we will take network governance. But today hierarchy will be more in this way. rather than in a top-down way. So this is called flattening of hierarchy. Right. Number of levels a file travels in government today has reduced. Right. So this is how we can tell on that aspect. So this is what about this. Further, let's write. Although change in paragraph. Although there are many other developments, during this paradigm. Such as new public management, governance, good governance, e-governance, new public service, network governance, new public service, network governance, and new public governance. But such developments are yet to be analyzed from a paradigmatic perspective. Nicholas Henry largely focused on globalization and governance of 1990s. Due to many such development, this paradigm is characterized as multi-paradigmatic phase. That is, public administration became multidisciplinary. In paradigm 6, public administration became multidisciplinary subject. In paradigm 6, from interdisciplinary characterization of paradigm 5. Interdisciplinary characterization of paradigm 5. See, when we say interdisciplinary, so there are limited number of disciplines influencing. When we say multidisciplinary, so there are endless, let's say that, n number of disciplines and developments, etc. Extreme level of interdisciplinary becomes multidisciplinary. So we are trying to mention limited ways so that you don't feel bothered, means you feel cumbersome by number of models. So you'll find that there are many such developments: NPM, governance, good governance, e-governance. Then you have new public service, you have new public governance, network governance. So new variant state, many developments have happened after 1990s, which we are yet to summarize and analyze from a paradigmatic perspective. No thinker is trying to synthesize them because it is very difficult. So presently what public administration is lacking is synthesis. Synthesis of different models and perspective. Many theories have been given, but we are not trying to synthesize them. Right. It can be similar to like we had many schemes and programs, etc., and they are not synthesized, means they are not restructured, and convergence lack among them. So that way you can understand about the theories. Like say if you see urban areas, you have different schemes. We have Amrut, we have a smart city, we have housing for all. There are three schemes. If you take rural areas, if you talk Panchayati Raj, you have Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana, we have Urban Mission, we have Skill India, we have Digital India Rural, and Swachh Bharat Mission Rural. Now, don't you think that they overlap a lot? So there is overlapping. So when there is overlapping, so are we, let's say that eliminating the overlapping between them? And are we trying to synthesize them? So if you are not able to eliminate overlapping and synthesize, so what will happen? There will be a state of confusion. Same thing happened about different models have emerged, different approaches have emerged in sixth paradigm, and we are not able to synthesize them. And that's why we are not able to exactly, you can synthesize in your mind as a student. This is how, whatever you understand, this. Thinkers have not done it. Academicians are not doing it. Right. Even Mohit Bhattacharya, who updates his book, so he has also not done it. Rather, he will discuss, as far as evolution is concerned, so he will discuss till 70s. So, this is how the problem lays about this discipline. Anyhow, let's write further, summarize, we'll summarize this. Therefore, due to many such developments, in paradigm 6, especially post NPM models, there is a view that there can be emergence of a seventh paradigm. There can be emergence of a seventh paradigm. If new public governance or new public value management is developed as a model, Right. Because of such developments and lack of uncertainty about future of public administration, in terms of paradigmatic status, there is also a view that public administration as a discipline is highly dynamic. And it is very difficult to clearly define its exact status. It's very difficult to clearly define its exact status. But in generic way, it can be concluded that public administration is characterized by features of paradigm 6, At the same time, there is emergence of there is a simultaneous emergence of many other paradigms. Many other paradigms. So that is how we should conclude this. Further, when we'll talk status, so there we'll talk about exact status of public administration, although it is very difficult. Somehow, somewhere you have to finish it. This is how it is. So paradigm 6 is about we have these characteristics, this is how it can be written. But at the same time there is simultaneous emergence of many other paradigms. So if you read public administration, especially contemporary era, you will get confused. Confused in the sense, what is called simultaneous emergence of multiple paradigms. The simultaneous emergence of multiple paradigm means, suppose paradigm 6, we say it as governance paradigm. We say it governance paradigm. But some other books you read, so they will say it as NPM paradigm. This. Then you will read further, e-governance is also a paradigm. Right. In fact, if you read IGNOU notes, means IGNOU material on e-governance, its first line is, e-governance brings paradigm shift in public administration. So that is how it is. So e-governance is also a paradigm. Then you will hear network governance, it is also a paradigm. Right. Then we have said new public governance, emerging paradigm, and another book will tell new public value management paradigm, another paradigm. So what exactly is paradigm, you can get confused. And no thinker is trying to synthesize it. So this is how we mean by saying simultaneous emergence of multiple paradigms. And when there is a simultaneous emergence of multiple paradigms, so this is how there is a question which will deal in the status of the public administration, whether the discipline of public administration is in a state of quandary. Right. This. You understand the meaning of this? Right. So it is in disarray. This. So whether discipline is in disarray. Right. So that is how these things should be answered later on. So that is how the paradigm, but still some more things are left about evolution right, to tell. One is called locus and focus. So once a question was asked, discuss the evolution of public administration from locus and focus perspective. So what does it mean? Basically, Golombieski. So he writes about locus and focus. Right. He has given concept of locus and focus. And this locus and focus concept by Golombieski is as per Nicholas Henry version of evolution. He has taken the paradigms of Nicholas Henry, because there are some differences. In general, we are discussing paradigm, and Nicholas Henry we are discussing paradigm. So, era of challenge will not be Nicholas Henry considered as paradigm, and reaction to challenge will also not be considered as paradigm. Rather, era of challenge is a paradigm in general way. Right. So that is how the difference. That is how it was, let's say, written that discuss locus and focus of evolution of public administration as per Nicholas Henry, and concept of locus and focus has been given by Gulam Biwaski, a thinker. So what is locus and focus? Let's take this. So since already we have discussed about evolution, so you know about paradigms, so we can give that reference. So if you go as per Nicholas Henry, so paradigm first is 1900 to 1926. Paradigm second is 27 to 37, and paradigm 3, 1950 to 1970. Paradigm 4, 1950, 1970. But 56. New book has removed this. New book which has been which is in market now, so it is further updated. So they have not mentioned 56. They have given 50. But if you have old ones, it will be 56. Now, so paradigm 4, then paradigm 5, 1970 to 1990, and paradigm 6, 92 onwards. Now you should know that Gulam Biwaski gave concept of locus and focus when Nicholas Henry had given paradigm 5. Right. So when Nicholas Henry has given evolution of public administration till paradigm 5. Right. And when Nicholas Henry added paradigm 6, so Gulam Biwaski did not review it. Therefore, Nicholas Henry himself reviewed locus and focus. This. So, this paradigm 6 is a recent development. If in our time in Nicholas Henry it was not mentioned, right? But later on he added paradigm 6 in explanation of that book. Anyhow, so these are the paradigms when you have to talk in terms of locus and focus. And difference will be this. This is how the difference. If you take Mohit Bhattacharya, so he will talk till 70. So thereafter, you will not talk on this. Suppose those who do not know about Nicholas Henry evolution, they will write till 70. Not before, let's say after that. So this is how the difference. That's why you should remember Nicholas Henry, because we have been expecting a repetition of this question in different way. So it can be asked in some different way. So basically locus, when we talk about, when we say locus, locus deals with public administration as an institution. And focus deals with subject matter Right. So locus is concerned with where of public administration. This is what of public administration. Right. Where of public administration means where public administration as an institution, operational part of the state, should be located. Right. Basically, under which branch of the state public administration should be located. This way, if you understand in simple way, there are three organs of the state. So whether public administration should be located in executive branch, legislative branch or judicial branch. And from the very beginning it has been recognized that public administration should be located under executive branch. Although it deals with also in general other branches. It deals with legislative also and judiciary also. So it deals with them, but it is operationalized by the executive branch. Which institution operationalize public administration? Not a state operationalize. It is the government of the day operationalizes public administration. And the government of the day is called executive. Therefore, it should be located under executive. So public administration or public bureaucracy is located under political executive or the government of the state. This is how we say this. And therefore, locus, so this is called locus oriented. Right. Now you should understand that key focus is related to subject matter. Subject matter is called disciplinary aspect. So what of the subject? Means what the discipline should do. What should be the subject matter of inquiry? Right. What should be the subject matter for theory building, principle building, concept building? So focus is about theory building. Focus is about disciplinary aspect. So whether there is focus means whether thinkers are giving more emphasis on subject matter or they are giving more emphasis on where it should be located, how it should be controlled. So that is how, let's say that there will be change. So since first paradigm there was no, Wilson did not clarify, if you remember criticism, what public administration should exactly study. He said it should study, but what it should study? Whether it should study organization or it should study state, whether it should study citizen. So what should be the subject matter was not clarified. But yes, there was concern about location of public administration, that how it should be controlled. And that is how even he says that there should be executive control or representative democratic control. And that's why we say it as locus oriented. And subject matter was not clear. So it is locus oriented. So we say locus, if mathematical term, locus, no focus. This, it has locus, no focus. Now, just opposite it will have no locus, but it has focus. How? You should know, yesterday we told that public in public administration was dropped. For them, setting was not important. They were talking about generic management, general principle, and you can locate anywhere, public, private, big, small, military, civil. So for them, location was not important. Locus was not important. Where their theory can be located means administration. They are building a science of administration. It is a science of also business administration. It is also a science of public administration. So because of that, let's say that it is considered no. For them, locus is not important. In which environment public administration work is not important for them. What is important for them is that it must have principles to achieve efficiency. Right. And because of that, it is considered no locus but focus. This. But now here what happens? Locus but no focus. Right. Locus but no focus. Why? public administration as political science. The public administration as political science, its subject matter was not defined. Focus was lost. Right. So focus, that's why they had lack of confidence whether discipline can be a separate subject or not, and what it should study. What it should study, so theory of administration means theory of politics also. So you can study anything. So there was blurring of focus or dilution of focus. Right. But this will find that this era is the welfare era, emergence of welfare era, and in that welfare era, let's say that the role of public administration became big. Right. And this is how it was still located. The locus of this continues once you define. Wherever locus will come, it will be in executive. Right. So, they did not talk about clearly locus or focus, but let's say that due to relevance of state and welfare state, the role of bureaucracy increases that time. Right. And let's say state became synonymous with also public bureaucracy. And there was emphasis on, let's say, administrative state. And because of that, you can consider, we say that it is locus oriented, but focus is lacking or focus is diluting, so no focus. But this, what happens? Again, just opposite. Right. No locus, but focus. Why? Because administrative science again. Again for them setting was not important. Right. For them setting was not important. Right. Administrative science it was characterized. That's why organization was written by Simon. So again let's say that a similar environment emerged like this. So for them, setting was not important, public or private, but focus was on case studies. So there was some, let's say that specific aspect. So they had to focus on case studies. And case studies approach emerged. That's why you say focus oriented. Or still, let's say focus was on management theories building, especially motivation, leadership, and some management principles related to POTS, CPM, MIS, etc. if you talk about, or performance budgeting. So there was emphasis on certain managerial techniques. And because of that, we say it as focus oriented, but lack of locus. And then what we said here? What we will say here? Right. Right. Finally, it ended. Right. So, when you say public administration as public administration, means what? Right. And it is said paradigmatic balance. So finally, public administration achieves paradigmatic balance of both first time. Right. So what was made clear? That its focus is not one, it is multifoci. It is multifoci oriented because of interdisciplinary. So, means you cannot clearly depict what exactly is the focus of public administration as of now. It's multifoci oriented, right? So that is how there are so many models emerging at the same time. And when you say interdisciplinary, so this is how you say multifoci. This multifoci orientation is started from here. This you should know. So multifoci orientation, interdisciplinary orientation started from crisis era itself. So because other disciplines started influencing public administration, and let's say they many other models etc they started taking up. So that is how it is started. But this is how we say here that it is a multifoci orientation. Multifoci means public administration as a discipline is influenced by many disciplines, and locus will remain in public. Executive means in executive locus will remain same. So it should be located, public administration should be located in the executive. Right. This, and that is how, means setting is also important. Environment is also important. It cannot remain, let's say, independent of environment. There is a distinction between public and private, and that is how you should know. The definition was given here. What is public? Public in public administration will tell you later on. So what is public in public administration? So even if you see a distinction is blurring, even if you say both are trying to become each other, still public administration is much different from private administration. This. That's why it should be located under executive. So this is how we say locus and focus. Now what we should say thereafter? Right. So we say locus is not lost. Right. Of paradigm 5. Right. This, and so the focus So Nicholas Henry says that paradigm 6 has not replaced paradigm 5. Both paradigms continue side by side. So paradigm 6 has not replaced paradigm 5. Both paradigms continue side by side. Therefore, paradigm locus and focus also continue. But that is only half of his explanation. The second half of his explanation is still focus is multifoci, but locus is not clear. Locus is getting blurred. This is how he talks. So although locus of this continues, focus of this continues, but he still says that locus, where public administration in future will be located, we cannot tell very clearly. That it will be only located in the executive branch. Why it is? So you should know that we have concept of governance, and concept of governance is about government, private and civil society. Right. When we'll teach governance etc., so I guess you will understand fully all these things. You should know that state has become equal partner. State has become, I guess we told yesterday this, right? This one. So they are the equal. So when they are the equal partner, this is called public administration, this is called market, this is called civil society. So public administration, let's say this public administration is working with them, and there cannot be clear demarcation. So when there cannot be clear demarcation of line between them, so should public administration will be located only in the executive branch, or public administration should be located in all the three aspects of the society: market, civil society and state. Right. There are at times governance without government also. Is it? So you should know that there are many institutions nowadays, community-based institutions, non-profit institutions, people, they come together and govern. Right. It is not the government which is only governing. In fact, government also encouraging this kind of things. So let's say that what they are saying is that public administration character as an institution, right, will not remain core as public administration of past when there is also equal role of market and civil society. Right. Simple, let's say that administration is getting converted into governance. Right. Can we say, this is how we say, although it is again not right time, but later we will say that, I will say that public administration as a discipline, name should be changed to public governance. Right. Public administration, administration is very old thing now, and administration only reflect a very narrow connotation. Right. How? So let's take some developments. I think that if you have type on image of this payment systems, now you have multiple payment system you have, and anything you can see, RuPay etc. or Paytm etc. Government has also brought it. So if you type on image, there is structure, you will get like this. Right. Like say you pay to Paytm. Right. And you pay all the bills. But Paytm is a public organization or private organization? Private organization. But what function you are performing on that? When you pay electricity bill? Public. Right. So through a private platform, you are performing a public function. And it is a private platform and delivering to government public function. So can you clearly see it is public or can you clearly see it is private? Right. It is difficult to say. Right. In past, a bank was located in government. Right. But it is a kind of different type of, let's say bank, ICT-led bank, right? So this is also a bank, but it is just a payment gateway. Right. But it cannot be considered it is located only in government. It is not located in government. But it is performing a public function. Right. So this is how he means when he says there, in the era of governance, you cannot say that public administration will be only located in executive. It remains although he does not answer this question. He says it remains uncertain. The future will decide where public administration should be located. Means what should be the location of public administration? It can be cloud. No. Right. So you have cloud computing. So let's it be located in cloud. Right. This is what you can say that. So this is what he is trying to say. Means he is not making very clearly. Means what we can say that locus of public administration remains uncertain in the era of governance. Although focus is there is a multifoci orientation. This will be saying. And this is what locus and focus were to explain. So in brief, you can write on these aspects. Right. So Gulambivsky has explained. Gulambivsky has explained, as per Nicholas Henry evolution of public administration. As per Nicholas Henry evolution of public administration. Concept of locus and focus. Concept of locus and focus. Locus is related with where of the public administration. Locus is related with where of the public administration. That is, it deals where public administration as an institution should be located. That is, it deals with where public administration public administration as an institution. Public administration as an institution should be located. As an institution should be located. Right. Focus is about what of the discipline. Focus is about what of the discipline. That is the subject matter. That is the subject matter of the discipline. Discipline. Paradigm 1 was simply you can write till that last. I will not explain much. This will explain this one much. Right. So paradigm 1 was locus oriented. It lacked focus. Second, paradigm second was focus oriented as building principles. Building principles. For them, locus was not important. For them, locus was not important as public in public administration was dropped at this stage. Public in public administration was dropped at this stage. Paradigm 3 was locus oriented. It lacked focus. It lacked focus, and paradigm 4 was focus oriented in terms of case studies. Focus oriented in terms of case studies. And like paradigm second, focus was not important. Sorry, locus was not important. Locus was not important. Great. Next, paradigm 5 was both locus and focus oriented. Locus and focus oriented as it came to be known as public administration as public administration. Came to be known as public administration as public administration. Right. Therefore, public administration for the first time, achieved paradigmatic balance. For the first time achieved paradigmatic balance. Paradigmatic balance. At this stage, the locus of public administration was in executive of the state. Executive of the state. That is in general. In general, public administration is located in the executive branch of the state. Executive branch of the state. Although other branches also have influence. Although other branches have also influence. But focus due to interdisciplinary aspect. Focus due to interdisciplinary aspects came to be characterized as multifoci orientation. Multifoci orientation. Which still continues. Which still continues. That is, as far as focus of public administration, as of now is concerned, it is multifoci. Now, paradigm 6. Golumbowski had explained evolution in terms of locus and focus. Golumbowski had explained evolution in terms of locus and focus till paradigm 5. Since paradigm 6 came after his explanation as a recent development, the locus and focus aspects have been explained by Nicholas Henry. He opines that first, locus and focus of paradigm 5 have not replaced paradigm 6. Hence, they also continue to exist. Second, still the focus of paradigm 6 can be characterized as right, working for social order in society. Next, as far as locus is concerned, due to governance, right, its future is uncertain. One cannot say that public administration locus would remain in executive. So that is how we can tell on locus and focus aspect. So evolution we finally finish right, about public administration. We'll take now meaning, scope and significance. The examples, etc., which you should write yourself. Maybe when I dictate, so I may not do that. So you should write all those things yourself when it is explained. Because later on, after 4.5 months, we have told in the first class itself. Right? When we will start reading public administration, So it can be as good as bad as we started. Right. This is how, because you will not remember all these things later on. As of now, you will remember. As of now, when you write an answer, if it asks question on evolution, you will write the best answer. Right. But later on, it is not. This is how we have told in that class. Again, we'll repeat. So if today knowledge is series like this, it should not fall like this. Right. This. So you have to reach to that level. So that's why you have to write those so that it should remain like this. Further, when you revise, so it goes in this way. Right. Because after October, prelims will come, isn't it? We will focus on prelims preparation, etc. So things will wear out. So we know we started our yesterday enrichment class. So some people from class came, right? And when question was asked to write, so they were not able to write because they do not remember. It may not happen with every, means simple we can say that in this examination it does not matter how much intelligent you are. Right. This you should know. How much intelligent you are, it does not matter. What matters, your revision again and again. Right. Revision is very important. If you think, I remember the things, so forget about it. Right. This is how. So many a time it question whether you are intelligent at all. No. So you will wonder, I remembered many things in graduation time. Why I am not able to remember now? Is it? Right. So because that study and this study is very different. Different. Every single sentence is important. Every single word is important. Right. Be it in written book or whatever we are telling. So every single thing is very important, and you have to understand each and every that single thing. Anyhow, so let's take meaning. Meaning, scope, and significance. Of public administration. So when we'll take meaning part, it deals with defining first public administration. So what is administration? What is public administration? No, very simple. Right. So what is administration and what is public administration? Right. Then can public administration be defined properly? Right. So can it be defined? Right. Or can there be one definition of public administration? So can there be one definition of public administration? This. So if questions will be asked, it will be asked in that way. Right. And public administration means execution of public interest. Comment. Right. Public administration means enforcement of public law. Right. Elucidate. So when we say meaning of public administration, it does not pose you challenge. But when we start asking questions regarding that, right, when we start asking questions, then it poses a challenge. Right. And we have asked this question 2 years back in our last mock test. Question number first A, right? Nobody wrote properly, I remember. And I have one answer I will show. Last year we have asked, and again people have not answered it. Right. So this seems to be very simple, and we can teach you without telling all these things, and you'll think, yeah, things are very simple. Right. This, but knowing this is not as important. Right. Knowing this is more important. This is how. So yesterday one person came and so he says he has never written article, means answer. First time he is writing. Although he has studied public administration, he has finished his public administration. Right. So it was first answer he was writing, which is a crime. Right. So, right. How can you finish your public administration without writing answers? Right. This, so you were studying college time. Right. College में तो पढ़ते भी नहीं है. Right. So the question is that let's see what it is. Basics. So some of the things already you know on public administration. When Wilson talks and other. Then we'll take scope and significance. So scope significance will take later on after this. So first thing you should know that when you say administration or public administration, in general, they are the same in general. Right. Every time we don't need to, because even Wilson wrote the essay known as The Study of Administration, and it is the foundation of public administration. Right. He is writing an essay on administration, but it founds public administration. So that is how, let's say that when we say in general administration or public administration, it means the same thing. It indicates the same thing. Right. Still they have differences. Right. Still they will have difference. So if you write about them do, right, in a specific way, so they have differences. What difference can be if you say administration? Basically administration is common to public administration. So administration is common to public administration, but what is exclusive to public administration? So public administration is also a discipline. This. The public administration also is a discipline. But when we say about administration, so this will largely connote to institution. Institution. Like when we add before this any suffix, means prefix, right? So this happened, Modi administration. So it indicates, but you cannot, already there is a prefix before administration, that is public. So public administration is also a discipline. But administration too is common to both. Right. This will happen. Plus, you have to know what is administration and what is public administration. So when we talk about administration, so we say it is derived from Latin word, right? Administrator. So it is derived from a Latin word which is called administrator, and that means look after, right? Look after, care for. So it is about looking after or caring for, caring something. This is how. So literal meaning of administration means looking after. Right. Looking after is related to also act of managing. Act of managing. So administration is also considered as act of management. Right. Means it is also about management of affairs. So looking after, whether you say, or act of managing. So this is how administration, when you talk, so it is defined as management of affairs. So administering means managing affairs. This we say. Administering means managing affairs, looking after certain affairs. And when we add public, so it is about managing public affairs. And we will add public, so it is about managing public affairs. This will happen. So that is very simple definition. So public administration means management of public affairs. This way it can be defined. Now, before we come to public administration, if you take administration, so administration is about management of administration is about management of affairs. Right. If you go further into this, so administration is about managing right, resources and people. Right. What you manage exactly? You manage resources. Right. So it is about management of, this is how we can say that. Right. Man, machine, and material. What we manage? There can be three such entities. One, people. Second, technology. And third, resources. In any such managing or management of affair, we have largely three types of entities which we try to manage, which we try to organize, right, which we try to marshal, whatever the terms you can use now. So some thinkers will use marshalling of, let's say, man and machine, marshalling of people and resources. Right. Some thinkers will say that it is about coordination of people, right, to achieve some objectives. So they will not say management, they will say management in place, they will say more about, it is about coordination of people to achieve some objectives. So management, administration, they are linked with some planned activity, some deliberate activity you are doing. Act of managing is deliberate, it is not indeliberate, it is planned. So some thinkers will also include planning, organizing, ordering, managing. So administration is also about planning, ordering, right, coordinating, controlling. This is how they will tell. So you simply go through, if you have not gone. Have you gone through definition of public administration? Simply you read it again and again. You don't have to remember them, just to see which thinker is defining how and what exactly the terms he uses in that definition. Right. As far as only administration definition is concerned, that they will write coordination, they will write man and material, machine, they will write control, order, right. So, Dimag and Dimag, they will write marshalling of efforts of people. You will find Ian Glandon, LDY, different thinkers will define administration in different way. Right. But the common elements among them will be that coordination, managing, controlling. This is how marshalling human resources, human to achieve desired objectives. It means that management or administration is a planned activity, a deliberate activity, where you try to coordinate among the different, let's say, resource and people so that you can achieve a desired objective. And then let's say that books will go on writing all the great feats in the world or most of the great achievements in the world could not have been possible without an act of administration. No, be it construction of wall of China or that pyramid of Egypt, right? Our people even talk Taj Mahal, etc., isn't it? So let's say that any such great achievement in the world in past could not have been possible without act of administration, even if there was no public administration. Right. Because those tasks we cannot achieve unless you had material. Right. You had machines, whatever the types of machines. Right. And you can see in some, let's say that how in past there used to be machines to construct. No. Like in Bahubali, you can see different type of machines, isn't it? And how they are constructing it. And how people are coordinating. If you see a recent popular movie. So this is how you'll find if people are coordinating. That there is an act of administration. There is no act of public administration. Right. Because it's not related to government, but there is an act of administration. Right. This is how we mean when we say we use the term administration. And this administration is everywhere. Wherever people are cooperating, coordinating to achieve some desired objectives, some common objectives, there is an act of administration. So in class also there is an act of administration because both sides are coordinating. Right. And at home also there is coordination. At times there is disarray, isn't it? So largely you have coordination, cooperation to achieve desired objective. Right. So this is how you'll find even at home setting also there is an act of administration. At school there is act of administration. At hospital there is an act of administration. And many a time you go to the hospital and etc. other place and you say that their administration is not good. No, you don't say that their public administration is not good, right? What do you say that? They are not able to properly administer. Right. Or there is a lack of proper coordination. Right. So basically this is how administration. So they will say, the thinkers will say that administration is omnipresent, if not omnipotent. So administration is omnipresent means anywhere where two or more people are coordinating to achieve some common desired objectives. So this is an act of administration. Because it is deliberate, it is planned, and there should be certain efforts by them to manage their affairs, look after or care for. This we can say. What does it mean? Does it mean that administration is a generic term? Right. So definition is very generic. Right. Anything which is generic is not specific. So generic in the sense that anything is administration. Wherever people are coordinating, acting to achieve some common objective, so you say administration. So basically administration is also very abstract term, a generic term. As Any such activity where there is cooperation, coordination to achieve common objective, we say as an act of administration, be it public, private, civil, military, like local, etc. That is how the administration. Right, and then we'll take public administration on this. So let's write on this aspect. Although in literal sense, although in literal sense, although in literal sense, admi- administration means to look after, to look after, to care for, to look after, to care for, to manage affairs, manage affairs. Hence, it is about management of affairs. It is about management of affairs. Management of affairs. Right. Thinkers in public administration. Thinkers in public administration. Thinkers in public administration, such as L.D. White, such as L.D. White, L.D. White, Dimmock and Dimmock, Dimmock and Dimmock, D-I-M-O-C-K. It is not working. Right. Ian Gladden, whatever. Right. Ian Gladden, Fifner, etc. They define by using terms like right, first marshalling of human efforts, marshalling of human efforts. Second, planning, coordinating, organizing, planning, coordinating, organizing. Next, cooperation and coordination among people. Cooperation and coordination among people. Change in paragraph, that is, administration is considered as an act. Administration is considered right, an act of managing man, material and machine to achieve common objectives. To achieve common objectives. To achieve common objectives. Right. This act of coordination and management can be found at different places of society. Different places of society. School, hospital, public-private organizations, that people are coordinating to achieve desired objectives. Desired objectives. The thinkers have also linked. The thinkers have also linked all the great achievements in the world, all the great achievements in the world, be it Egypt pyramid or the wall of China, as a great achievement of administration, as also a great achievement of administration, great achievement of administration, as they could have not been possible. They could have not been possible without an act of administration. Without an act of administration. That is organizing in a right way. Organizing in a right way. Men, material, machine. Men, material, machine. And marshalling the efforts of people. Marshalling the effort of people. That is coordinating and controlling the efforts. Coordinating and controlling the efforts to achieve common objectives. Common objectives. At the same time, it can also be found. At the same time, it can also be found that when there are similar efforts have failed to achieve. Similar efforts have failed to achieve desired result. Desired result. It is also due to failure of administration. It is also due to failure of administration. Failure of administration. Right. Therefore, the act of administration is defined. Act of administration is defined in a very generic way. In a very generic, abstract way. Right. It is equated with any such act. It is equated with any such act which has coordination, cooperation. Coordination, cooperation to achieve common objectives. Coordination, cooperation to achieve common objectives. That's why it lacks any one single definition. That's why it lacks any one single definition. So that is how we can say that. But that's why it lacks any one single definition. But there are some common elements in definition. There are some common elements in definition. And in most general way, public administration can be defined as coordination between two or more people. Coordination between two or more people to achieve common objectives. To achieve common objectives. Right? So let me say, we have told one line somewhere that, or two, three lines that it is generic, and there is no one definition. Still, we have ended with telling a general definition. What is its negative impact on you? The negative impact on you is that as soon as a question is asked to define public administration, you start upside down. You start saying, what is your beginning of answer? Public administration is not, it does not have any single definition. It cannot be defined properly. It is very generic. So start your answer writing upside down, and therefore you become negative. You become negative. Rather, you have to be neutral. Right? There is no such enmity with definition of public administration. So that is how people do, but it should not be. Never ever in any answer, any question, you should write this, that. He does not have any one definition. It does not have one meaning. It is generic. It is something which should be written towards somewhere, which should have a very less influence. Right. So this is how we can say as common aspect. Let's write public administration. So defining public administration. The term public in public administration, the term public in public administration connotes C-O-N-O-T, right, T-E-S, connotation, this is how we say, connotes what? Right, government, and hence it has a specific meaning that public administration means government administration. Public administration means government administration. Public also indicates to people. Public also indicates to people. Hence, it can also be said as an administration for people. An administration for people. And in this way it can be considered. In this way it can be considered. It can be considered management of public affairs. Considered as management of public affairs. Management of public affairs. Marshalling of efforts in the field of government. Marshalling of efforts in the field of government. To achieve common objectives. To achieve common objectives. The common objectives can be first, execution of public law, enforcement of public law, achievement of welfare, development. Next, ensuring public interest, etc. Therefore, public administration has been defined also by thinkers. Public administration has been defined also by thinkers. Right. Relating to government activities, objectives, objectives, and machineries. Machineries. That first, Wilson considers public administration. Wilson considers public administration as the most visible side of the government. The most visible side of the government. Action part of the government. Action part of the government. Second, LD White considers public administration as execution of public law. Execution of public law. Right. Urvik considers public administration. Urvik considers public administration as right, management of public affairs and getting work done, getting things done. Simon considers public administration as as right, part of executive concerned with enforcement of public policy. Therefore, many thinkers have defined public administration. Many thinkers have defined public administration wherein they have the common elements. They have the common elements of first, execution of public policy, enforcement of law, realization of public interest, Next, executive branch of government, Right. And therefore, these definitions represent dichotomy era when public administration role was recognized as implementation of public policy. Public administration role was recognized as implementation of public policy. But these definitions are definitions of public administration. These definitions are definitions of public administration. Definitions of public administration, right, in terms of public administration as an institution. Right. Public administration as an institution. Right. So these are all definitions related to public administration as an institution, because what they are saying, enforcement of public law, enforcement of public policy, enforcement of realization of public interest. So basically our most visible part of the government, more action side of the government. So what basically they are defining. So it is about institution. They are not talking about discipline. They are not talking about activities. They are not talking about a, it is also a profession. Right. So public administration is also a profession. Right. Many people do administrative job. Right. So many people do administrative jobs. It is also considered as a profession, which is less recognized. So that will also tell. It means ki it is, let's say that defining public administration. So you have to take all the dimensions, right, of public administration. So further we'll write on this aspect. So let's write further. But since public administration is also a discipline, an activity, right. Therefore, public administration, according to Demark and Demark, right. So public administration, according to Demark and Demark, right, connotes four meanings. First, a discipline. Second, an institution. Third, activity. And fourth, a profession. Therefore, it is very difficult to incorporate all the four dimensions of public administration in one definition. It is very difficult to incorporate all the four dimensions in one definition. Largely when public administration is defined, its three dimensions are taken into consideration. Right. Discipline, institution and activity. And from this perspective, Negro and Negro have given a broad definition of public administration. As first, it is an institution. Which is primarily concerned with enforcement of policy. Second, it is a discipline. With interdisciplinary perspective. interdisciplinary perspective. Second, it is distinct from business administration. It is distinct from business administration. Next, it is basis for planning and development. It is basis for planning and development. Planning and development. Right. So, this is the definition given by Negro and Negro. But still, let's say that it is definition, still it does not include everything. Can we have a definition which includes everything? Very difficult. Right. So largely if you find that the definition of public administration traditionally during traditional era, so they have defined public administration more as an institution. But there are still thinkers, especially Negro and Negro, even Nicholas Henry, if you read the notes that we have given, printed notes in this Nicholas Henry definition, or if you have the book of public administration, his book, so he defines also very broadly. So Nicholas Henry when defines, he will also include, they include broader aspect, they include discipline with interdisciplinary aspect, right? Institution with primarily concern with policy implementation, distinction between public and private administration, and it is also a basis for planning and development. The planning and development is indicating towards activity. So it indicates towards activity, what activity it performs, and this is how at the same time it takes also discipline. And if you see similarly Nicholas Henry, which is difficult to remember, you can read in the book, it's a very big paragraph definition. So some people have defined in a very broad way and they will take at least 6-7 lines to define. So we can only feel them, we should not know them and memorize them. Right. So we should have a feeling that they have given such a broad definition. If you read Nicholas Henry definitions, he include public policy also. Public policy, enforcement of public policy. Right. He talks about public interest, citizen orientation. He talks the public administration should be citizen orientation. Public administration is about not only policy implementation, but also it helps in policy formulation. So public policy orientation has also been included, and he also includes management orientation. So management orientation, so if I write, so he defines 4 dimensions. 4 dimensions he includes. Right. It can be public policy, means it has a role in public policy formulation. Right, public policy, implementation, and then citizen orientation. So we may not remember entire definition, but still we can write some of the broader aspects, key aspects, which will be more important. So it is more broad than what Wilson says. Wilson says it is the action part of the government. Or LD White say that ki public administration is nothing but enforcement of public policy. Right. So can we identify narrower definition and broader definition? So there is a narrower view also, and there is a broader view also. Right. So in definition also there is a narrower view and there is a broader view. If you write, so LD White can come under this category. Right. So LD White will be in this category. And if you say broader view, then we can have Negro and Negro, Nicholas Henry. Right. This, so they can be broader, or even Dimmock and Dimmock. They have given 4 dimension. Right. So there can be narrower view also, there can be broader view also in even definition of public administration. And that is how, let's say that key, we can consider. And these are all still traditional era of definition. Okay. Traditional era is public administration definition has also changed. The meaning of public administration is context dependent. Right? What does it mean? Meaning of public administration is can you answer this question? No. Say no because you have not been yet taught. Right. So question is that still we have not taught this context dependent. The context dependent, right. So we have not taught yet. To public administration definitions means meaning, they have also changed time to time. Can we say? Can we say that the meaning of public administration will remain the same? Right. So why it will not remain the same?
Evolving discipline.
Yes.
It is an evolving discipline.
When there is a change and there are changes, let's say that coming in public administration, and you reject the past change and you bring the new change, right? When classical era is rejected, behavioral era comes. Behavioral era is rejected, new public administration come. It is rejected, public choice come. Then thereafter NPM come. It is rejected, post NPM model come. Right. This is how the lineup, let's say that. The one pasts are rejected, presents are glorified. Right. In discipline, in our country, past is glorified, present is not. Right. That's just quite different, right? So the question is that in public administration, past is rejected and present is glorified. So when things are not constant, how can definition remain constant? Right. This is how you have to learn, but before that, you should know that there are broader aspect definition, narrower aspect definition, and this is how the view. And then we'll talk how its meaning has been changing. So let's write few lines on this further. Traditionally, the meaning of public administration can be categorized as narrower and broader view, categorized from narrower and broader perspective. Narrower and broader perspective. Broader perspective. That a school of thinkers focused on defining public administration more from dichotomy perspective. And hence they define public administration as execution of public policy or public law. They define public administration from narrower perspective as execution of public policy or public law, such as L.D. White, Fifner, Pfeiffer, whatever you can say, PFIFFNER, Wilson, etc. The second school consider definition of public administration from a broader perspective, and they did not only include Right. They did not only include, what do we say, implementation side of public administration, but also other dimensions, other dimensions, other dimensions such as Negro and Negro, Negro and Negro, Democ and Democ, Democ and Democ, Nicholas Henry, Nicholas Henry, and even Willoughby. Right. Change in paragraph. Although Willoughby subscribed to, although Willoughby also supported, although Willoughby also supported politics administration dichotomy, of Wilson, but he gave a broad consideration. He gave a broad consideration to public administration by recognizing it as fourth branch of the government, fourth branch of the state, fourth branch of the state, fourth branch of the state. Apart from the three branches, legislature, executive, and judiciary. Recognizing administration as fourth branch, shows significance of the role of administration. Shows the significance of the role of administration. Role of administration. So this is how you should know that even if Willoughby belonged to that era, but he has read some differences or certain differences. The difference is that he says, administration is a fourth branch because its role is very important, right? And in fact, bureaucracy or administration or administrative system, the administrative system is considered an important system of any state, which is about translating policy into action. In fact, the fourth branch is always, let's say that, flexible, replaceable. Here when we talk, so he was talking fourth branch, although it has not been taken forward. So other thinkers have not carried forward, yes, it is fourth branch. So that debate ends there, but he had some differences with Wilson, etc. He had a broad view of public administration. Although he subscribed to the idea of politics administration dichotomy. Similarly, if you take fourth branch, so when you talk about media, the media is considered fourth branch. And when we will teach you regulatory bodies, there will also say that they are considered as fourth branch, fourth arm of the state. The fourth has not remained fixed. Right? The three organs are fixed. The fourth has remained, let's say, always. So it depends which institution you talk, so we try to relate it. And Willoughby has significance because of this aspect, considering administration as fourth branch. So that is how broader view and narrower view. Now let's write further evolution of definition of public administration. Evolution of definition of public administration. Right. Before we take this, let me ask you, when we wrote a question, public administration means execution of public law, comment. So what you will write on that? Whatever you will write, in the end you will write that it is not only about execution of public law. Right? This is how it is. If it is asked, comment on public administration as execution of public policies, you will write ki, yes, you explain whatever you are explaining, but then in the end you have to write ki it is not only about, or it is not about execution of public law, or this definition represents traditional era of narrower view. Public administration is also broadly defined as, so you can include as a discipline, interdisciplinary aspect. It is also about policy making, and it deals with other such aspects like planning and development. So Negro aspect you can write. This when it is asked public administration is about realization of public interest. So what you will write? You will support it? Yes, it is realization of public interest. Right. So it is realization of public interest. So then you will talk that the public interest, you will give a broad connotation to public interest. But it may not be only about public interest, it also about, right. Public interest definition is indicating more towards implementation. Right. Public administration is also concerned about what exactly is public interest. Right. That will be also written few lines. So let's write few lines further. Evolution. Since public administration as a discipline has evolved in 6 overlapping paradigms, since public administration as a discipline has evolved in 6 overlapping paradigms, and therefore the meaning of public administration also, has been changing, and some thinkers have tried to give meaning of public administration as per its context. Context such as first traditional era of public administration represents the first two paradigms. And the meaning of public administration was more influenced by management science. Business-like approach, and concept of dichotomy. Although there were both broader and narrower view. Right. 1950s, 60s era were more influenced by emergence of public policy perspective. And hence public policy dominated definition. When Paul Appleby says, all administration is an act of politics. All administration or administration is an act of politics. What is politics? So you know it, but tomorrow we'll take it. So let's finish. Enjoy your life. Tomorrow we'll take it.